So, we just had a 3-day weekend. Our 3-day weekend was in honor of President's Day, a day dedicated to the presidents of the United States of America. We all live in the United States. The United States is where we live. That's the country we live in. We live in the state of Nevada. We live in a country that has a state inside of it, and inside our state, we live in a city. Most of us live in Reno or Sparks. That's where we're living right now. All right, so today we are going to read a story about President's Day. The name of this story is President's Day. The author who wrote the words is Anne Rockwell. The pictures, the illustrator, is Lizzie Rockwell. I see two characters on the front of this story. I see Abraham Lincoln and George Washington. President's Day is when we celebrate the birthdays of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. They were both born in February many years ago. They were both great presidents of our country, the United States of America. Grown-ups vote every 4 years to choose the President of the United States. Each person votes for the person he or she believes will make the best leader. They don't all agree, so whoever gets the most votes becomes president. We decided to put on a President's Day assembly program telling the rest of our schools some things we learned about some of our presidents. We worked hard getting ready, painting and cutting, stirring and cooking flour paste, and tearing strips of newspaper for paper mache. Sam, Evan, Sarah, and Michko wore the mountain of paper mache we made. "Hello, everybody! We are Mount Rushmore," they said together. The faces of the presidents, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln, are carved 60 feet high on hard granite cliff. Now each of these presidents will tell you about themselves. I was George Washington because that's my birthday. It's the same as his. I was born February 22nd, 6 years ago, but George Washington was born more than 200 years ago. "Good morning," I said in a deep voice. "I led American people when they fought to be free from the King of England. We won, so I was elected the first president of a brand new country called the United States of America." Abraham Lincoln was very, very tall, and Charlie is the tallest kid in class. "I am the 16th president of the United States," he said. "I kept the United States together when it split in two. I said, 'A house divided against itself cannot stand,' and I meant it. We fought a long war to keep our nation together. That's why it's called the United States of America. United means many stick together like one." Nicholas is a good writer who can always think of just the right word. When he came on stage wearing a red wig with a short pigtail and back, he just sat at the desk writing with a pen made of a feather. Everyone waited patiently while he scowled and scratched his head and crumpled pieces of paper and tossed them in the wastebasket. Finally, he cried out, "At last, it's done!" He stood up, bowed to the audience, and said, "Good morning, my name is Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States. I wrote something called the Declaration of Independence, and that told that we wanted to be free from England. It's pretty good if I do say so myself." He started to read what he wrote, but suddenly, Jessica came along, galloping out on a hobby horse. "Good morning," she shouted. "My name is Theodore Roosevelt, but you can call me Teddy. I am the 26th president of the United States. When I was a kid, I was sick a lot and couldn't go out to play. But when I grew up, I was healthy and strong and loved the outdoors. I wanted a lot of this big, beautiful land to always be wild. That's why we set aside more land to be national parks where plants and animals could always be wild." Pablo and Evelyn came on stage carrying a long mural we had painted. of giant redwood trees, the Grand Canyon, Old Faithful spouting, and animals in the Everglades. The rest of us joined them. Mount Rushmore, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, and Teddy Roosevelt on his horse. We bowed while everyone in the audience clapped for a long time. Back in the classroom, we had an election. Everyone wrote the name of someone who would make a good leader on a piece of paper. I wrote Pablo's name because he is smart and never mean. We each put a piece of paper in the box. Miss Madoff counted the votes. The person whose name appeared most often would win the election. And guess what? I won, just like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Abraham Lincoln, Teddy Roosevelt, and today's President of the United States. Now I'm president of Mrs. Madoff's class. When I grow up, I want to be the first woman president of the United States. Wouldn't that be great? After all, I have the same birthday as George Washington. The end. So for President's Day, we are celebrating our presidents in the United States of America. So today, I would like you to try and use your cutting skills to make an American flag. So I'm going to grab some scissors. And I am going to grab a red piece of paper, a white piece of paper, and a blue piece of paper. So to start, I am just going to glue my red piece of paper up, but you don't need to do this step. I'm just doing this step so that you can see how I'm making my flag. Awesome. Now, on our American flag, I see that we have a blue square and we have red and white stripes. So, I see that my background paper is red, so I'm going to work on cutting out a blue square and red and white stripes. So I'm going to cut a square. When I cut, I have thumbs up, and I make sure that I cut on the line. Awesome. I'm going to glue my blue square in the corner.
You are clear.
This is my blue square.
Thank you.
And then I'm going to cut out stripes. To cut out stripes, I just cut a big line across the whole paper. I'm going to cut out multiple stripes so that it looks like an American flag. Now I see that the stripes don't go across the blue, so some of my stripes are going to have to be long and some are going to have to be short. Now, on our real American flag, we have 50 stars and we have 13 stripes. But it's really hard to cut out 13 strips of paper, so we are going to just make a few so that it looks close to an American flag, but it might not look exactly like our real American flag. So I'm going to start gluing. Okay. I'm gluing one right here, and I'm gluing another one, and I'm gluing the last one. All right, so I glued 3 stripes on the bottom, and now I'm going to need to make some shorter stripes to make sure that our flag looks just right. So I'm going to cut these in half, and I'm going to glue them here and here. Nice. Now I see that what is still missing from my flag is stars. And like I said, there are 50 stars for all 50 states on our real American flag. But we're just trying our best to make a flag that looks like the American flag. So we're going to glue on as many stars as can fit on our blue section of the flag. Here's 1. Here's 2. Here's 3. Here is 4 and 5. So I glued 5 stars and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white stripes. This looks kind of like an American flag. Now we remember that our real flag looks like this, but we wanted to make something that looked close to the American flag as a project. All right. The last step is always to write our name. My name is Miss Conley. I can't wait to see what you wrote. Goodbye.